In this video, we will discuss the history and rationale behind social stories and how it has been used to improve impairments in social behavior. Past research has shown that impairments in social behaviors are associated with students diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder. In an attempt to alleviate some of the barriers that students experience in this area, researchers have narrowed down their focus to the cognitive skills required for social interaction, or social cognition skills. Teaching appropriate social behaviors centered around social stories is built upon researched understanding of social cognition skills. According to Gray and Garand, social stories are short stories that describe social situations in terms of relevant social cues and often define appropriate responses. For some students diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder, their appropriate responses to various social situations improved through the use of this method. In 1943, Dr. Leo Kanner published one of the initial descriptions outlining characteristics of autism he observed. Since that time, what was initially described as withdrawn behavior or in a world of their own evolved to more enlightened descriptors such as not all individuals with autism display withdrawn social behavior. Additionally, behaviors formerly considered inappropriate, such as echolalia or stereotypy, were recognized as communicative attempts to initiate and sustain interactions with people in their environment. This recognition of skills students already possessed in their repertoire dissipated some of the negative connotations and served as a communicative foundation to build upon for the student. In a study conducted by Yirmiya et al. In 1992 on empathy and cognition, the authors found that characterized impairments cannot be assigned in a blanket fashion. Specifically, they found that while children with autism did demonstrate some skills required to identify the emotions and assume the perspectives of others, their performance was nonetheless impaired. The rationale behind social stories is based on the interpretation of research and then how the research indicated the most efficient way social behavior should be taught. So for the first consideration, they looked at impaired accurate social information. And the rationale for teaching social stories are based on an emerging understanding of social cognition, specifically in autism spectrum disorder. The research has demonstrated that students with autism often have impairments in their ability to read and understand social situations and then to formulate appropriate responses to those situations. So social stories respond to this impairment by providing the student with access to information on critical components that happen in the social engagement, and then it provides them with information on how to respond appropriately in these situations. The second consideration is difficulty with questioning skills. Students identified with autism spectrum disorder sometimes have difficulty with questioning skills. Hertig et al. In 1982 stated that children with autism do not appear to understand that questions may be used to gain information from others, and therefore their access to information is limited. So based on these findings, it was suggested that families and practitioners include answers to who, what, when, where, and why questions when teaching social behavior skills to students with autism spectrum disorder. This should be done while teaching the student that individuals in their environment often have the information that they need and is of value to them. The third consideration is presentation of social information. So the presentation of social information should be in a format that is clear and easily understood by students. In traditional teaching methods, a social interaction is structured between students and the teacher. These social engagements are very structured and they rely upon the student already having an established social behavior repertoire of skills they can pull from. So, taking into consideration that students with an identified autism spectrum disorder have deficits in social behavior skills, this highlights that traditional teaching methods may be ineffective for these students. So, social stories strive to minimize these challenges by providing the student with detailed information to increase their understanding of the lesson and by accurately understanding the social cues that are contained in the lessons.